Hello, everybody. Today's topic is about whether or not a carnivore diet can quietly push you towards histamine overload. Spoiler alert, yes. Sometimes, though, the issue is not that the meat itself is a problem, it's that you're destroying your microbiome. And usually, on a carnivore diet, we're eating lots of aged meats and ground beef, and you might be eating deli slices, cured meats. All those things have a high histamine load. So, you're increasing exposure to histamine and at the same time starving your microbiome. You're not getting enough fiber, enough polyphenols, all those things that help you maintain a strong, healthy gut barrier. So now leaky gut could start to develop, especially the longer you are on a carnivore diet. So let's talk about it. It is the histamine load and the gut buffer underneath it. Those are the two main things that lead to histamine intolerance that you probably, I'm sure, have heard so much about lately. And here's the mechanism. We're going to talk about it. So this is my 35-pound transformation. It's more than that. Again, I keep saying it. I more than the 35 pounds. I dropped 7 pounds just in the first 2 months of reintroducing carbs, not to mention completely eliminating any even hint of an eating disorder behavior or a craving or anything like that, which is so amazing. So I've talked about this in other videos, and I will make sure we delve deeper into that in future videos. Also, I've been featured on the carnivore documentary called Reverse TV series way back in the day before I knew any better. And I do have a PhD in nutrition and exercise physiology from the University of Miami, and I've also taught for decades at so many universities and colleges. So I've taught at the University of Miami, Miami-Dade College, DeVry University, the American College of Sports Medicine, and worked on research as well over there, University of Miami, and so many other places. And I have quit in order to focus more on research and growing my message and building a brand and just doing what I love to do. Alrighty. Histamine overload is a math problem. You're getting too much in and you're destroying your ability to handle it, right? So you're getting way too much foods that are high in histamine, especially if you're doing carnivore, and then you're adding on top of that fermented foods because that's what carnivore experts are telling you. Like, okay, we see everybody's microbiome is getting destroyed. No worries, have the kefir, have the probiotics in the form of fermented foods. That's a problem, right? Because that's yet an additional source of histamine without anything to buffer it. So you're getting way too much in on a carnivore diet and not enough out. So you have a very weak gut clearance because when you starve your microbiome and you're not only not getting fiber to feed the microbiome, you're not even getting polyphenols, right, that feed akkermansia, that help you maintain a strong gut lining. So now you have more leaky gut. The enzyme that's supposed to clear histamine is called the DAO enzyme. It's on your brush border, it's on your gut lining, but your gut lining is being damaged. So now your DAO enzyme does not work as well. So now you have to rely on supplements to make it work, which you could take DAO supplements, but not a good idea. To maintain an antibiotic type lifestyle, like the carnivore diet, it's literally as if you're taking an antibiotic for an extended period of time. So when that balance tips, way too much histamine, and you're losing and losing and losing your ability to clear it, now you're going to have histamine intolerance symptoms like feeling flushed, itchy, wired, bloated, headachy, stuffed up, or just having reactions after every meal. You just don't feel good after you eat. I had a client like that. He just, back in the day, unfortunately, when I was still recommending carnivore, and he would just really not like to eat, barely eating anything because it's carnivore. And then it's like, I don't feel good when I eat. So I try to push it later in the day, right? So it's histamine intolerance. And isn't it interesting that a lot of carnivores recommend or start to work more with histamine intolerance and mast cell activation syndrome, because it's like their followers that are following their advice are developing all these issues, so they're forced to look into it. It is the initial recommendation. The carnivore diet is not supposed to be a lifelong thing. We do it as a short band-aid kind of thing, like taking an antibiotic just for quick relief. That's all. All right. Why some carnivore foods hit harder? Fresh meat is not the same as aged, right? Anything that's aged, anything that is not fresh is going to have higher load of histamine. And the more aged it is, the higher histamine load, right? So you want to focus, for quick relief, you want to focus on freshly cooked foods, and you want to pay attention with leftovers. If you must have leftovers, then freeze them right away. It's better than putting them in the fridge. Cured meats, eliminate ground meat. You might not be able to have that. Slow cooker meat, you might not be able to have that. All those things are high in histamines, right? Histamine tends to rise as protein foods age and sit. Some carnivore staples can become a histamine stack, right? You're stacking everything. You're having bacon and sausage, right? Cured meats, very high histamine. Whoops, let's go back. You're having jerky, aged food, high histamine. Canned fish, right? Sardines, more histamine. Leftovers, more histamine. And now, I mean, imagine what a histamine storm you've got going on. So no wonder people are struggling with this. Your gut lining helps clear histamine, especially with the DAO enzyme, right? So if the gut lining is irritated, histamine clearance can drop. And guess what? When you're starving your microbiome, you're going to have a much weaker gut lining. And so DAO enzyme on your gut lining won't work as well. So now the same meal can suddenly feel much worse. This is why histamine intolerance is often a gut story. It all goes back to healing the gut, you know? Eat your fiber. Do things the right way. Stop taking shortcuts, everybody. They never work. No fiber usually means less butyrate, right? Because when you eat fiber, your probiotics, your gut bacteria feed on the fiber and create butyrate, which is fuel for your gut cells. And no, the ketone body, beta hydroxybutyrate. If you think, oh, I'm in ketosis, I have all the beta hydroxybutyrate in the world that's feeding my gut. It's not the same. It's not as powerful, not even close. You need the butyrate. And then what about the propionate, another short-chain fatty acid that you can only create when you're eating fiber that boosts your probiotics and your gut bugs. So whichever way you look at it, it doesn't work. Very low fiber leads to less short-chain fatty acid production. The short-chain fatty acids, especially being you're not getting butyrate and you're not getting especially propionate at all. So now even one more additional stressor on your gut lining that's weakening your gut cells even more. So how are you going to have a healthy gut that has enough DAO enzyme that can clear all that histamine that you've been eating? So butyrate is not just fiber stuff, right? It actually helps feed your gut cells, your colonocytes, right? It supports the gut barrier. It prevents leaky gut from happening for too long and at an extreme level. And it helps your immune system calm down as well. So butyrate appears to help calm also mast cells. Mast cells are white blood cells. They're a type of immune cell in your skin and all of your tissues. When you actually eat fiber that creates butyrate, so the fiber goes via your probiotics feed on the fiber and they create butyrate, okay? Not the beta hydroxybutyrate, the actual butyrate, the good one. Now you have more butyrate, which allows your mast cells to calm down. So it restrains your mast cells. And so now this is how you minimize and eliminate mast cell activation syndrome. So if you're not having the fiber and your probiotics are not creating the butyrate, nothing calms down your mast cells, and your mast cells now keep working overtime. Mast cells produce histamine. So that's one more extra source of histamine, right? So you're eating all the histamine containing carnivore foods, and at the same time, that's triggering your mast cells to create even more histamine in your body. So now it's like a histamine storm that's happening. So yeah, there you have it. Dysbiosis, also, you're destroying your gut health. So dysbiosis and just poor gut health can raise histamine signaling as well. So that's a third route in which you're increasing as well histamine. When you're not having enough fiber, fermentation, which means you're not creating short-chain fatty acids, no butyrate, no propionate whatsoever. So now you have more histamine producing activity. I laugh because it's so wild that anybody would be recommending it. But at the same time, it's sad to see people struggle through that, For some people, the problem is not just what they eat, it is what the gut ecosystem turns into. So the gut shifts can make a borderline system feel suddenly reactive, right? If especially most people come into carnivore with less than optimal gut health, a lot of people think that they're healing their gut, right, by doing carnivore. But it's similar to taking an antibiotic. Yeah, the symptoms are going to calm down in the short term, but they're not really treating the root cause, right? So if you're already coming in with a compromised microbiome, you already don't have great microbiome health, and then you mess it up even more on carnivore, that can increase histamine intolerance as well. So higher histamine load leads to more gut irritation, and your mast cells are activated, right? Because you don't have the butyrate to put the brakes on them to stop mast cells from overproducing the histamine. So now you have also your mast cells, your immune cells creating more histamine. And so now you have even more symptoms after meal. So that's the cycle that unfortunately some people are stuck in. And so no, the solution also is not to have kefir or to have fermented foods, because that's even higher histamine. Like the whole goal is to not trigger the system more than it already is. And that's why people say, I used to tolerate this and now I can't. Oh boy, carnivore diet, the gift that keeps on giving. So this does not prove that carnivore causes mast cell activation syndrome. It's not like a cause and effect, but it definitely it just makes it a lot worse, right? You probably already had dysbiosis, and now you just worsened it by starving your probiotics, and that can trigger mast cell activation syndrome. So what we can say is that it can raise histamine load, it can remove gut buffers, it can unmask a predisposition. We can't say that it's meat is causing it, right? Because I recommend everybody eat a lot of nutrient-dense foods, including meat. It's about being able to create a machine, a strong, resilient, powerful body that can handle nutrient-dense foods, even if it's got a little bit more histamine in it, even if it's ground beef. It doesn't have to be a fresh cut of lamb every single day. So the smarter wording is carnivore can worsen histamine burden in some people. I think I would go way further than that. I would definitely say that it is truly triggering an epidemic of people developing this because of the popularity of the carnivore diet. Carnivore does not have to cause mast cell activation syndrome to make symptoms show up. It may simply expose a system that was already running close to the edge, and then just carnivore was like the tipping point. So test these first before blaming everything on mast cell activation syndrome. Look at the food. Is it fresh or leftover, processed or cured meats, ground meat, canned fish, sardines, meal prep age? How long have you had this meal prepped food? For all those things are higher in histamine. And then look at the gut. Are you constipated? You have bloating or reflux, food reactivity pattern, possible dysbiosis or gut stress. All those things means that you're not clearing histamine really well. So if you are interested in further support, one-on-one coaching, check out or apply for coaching one-on-one with me at drsarahzoliver.com/coaching. If your application gets selected, then I will reach out to you within 48 hours. And also make sure you stay up to date with all of the research and the content and all the stuff that I'm doing by signing up to my free newsletter at drsarahzoliver.com/newsletter. Let me know your comments, your thoughts on this video, and let me know if you have additional things you would like for me to talk about that I may not have covered yet on my channel. And if you like this kind of content, make sure you give this YouTube video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that little notification bell icon so YouTube will alert you every time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.